Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge. Today, we're plunging into a topic that, well, it touches almost everyone, whether you're a student, a parent, an educator, or maybe just curious about the future. We're talking about the integration of artificial intelligence in education. We've poured through a really fascinating stack of material here, academic papers, recent reports, and they all seem to paint this picture of AI transforming learning. On one hand, you see this incredible potential, like truly personalized learning paths, amazing access to information. But as our sources reveal, the challenges are pretty significant and really multifaceted.
Indeed. Yeah, our mission today is really to unpack these complexities, to move beyond just the headlines.
Yeah.
We need to understand the profound pedagogical, ethical, societal concerns that are popping up. We'll look at not just what's happening, but crucially, why it matters directly to you.
Okay, so let's dive in. Maybe start with what feels like the biggest disruption AI has brought straight into the classroom: academic integrity.
The big one.
Yeah. The arrival of these powerful AI tools, large language models basically, AI trained on just vast amounts of text to predict and generate writing that sounds really human.
Uncannily human sometimes.
Exactly. It's made it incredibly easy for students, frankly, to generate essays or solve complex problems with, let's face it, minimal effort. But what these numbers we're seeing reveal, it seems like it's a fundamental shift in the very act of learning itself.
That's precisely it. When students bypass that essential cognitive effort, the struggle, the research, the critical thinking that assignments are supposed to demand,
Right.
they miss out on developing crucial skills. We're talking analytical reasoning,
Yeah.
problem solving. This isn't just like simple cheating anymore. It fundamentally undermines the learning process. It threatens the very validity of academic credentials.
And the scale is quite something, isn't it?
It's striking. A 2024 survey in Australia found over one-third of university students had already used AI chatbots for assessments. Another survey, this one from 2023, noted 30% of students used AI, and maybe more worryingly, 17% admitted submitting entirely unedited AI-generated content.
Just straight copy-paste.
Pretty much. And the Malaysian Community College Association, they recently observed a sharp increase in submissions that lecturers strongly believe are almost entirely AI-generated.
Wow. And then there's the detection problem, right? Trying to catch this.
Oh, absolutely. That's a whole other can of worms. Early versions of tools educators often rely on, like Turnitin, they had really high false positive rate.
Meaning they flag things that aren't AI.
Exactly, which makes accurate identification incredibly difficult and, frankly, quite stressful for everyone involved.
So beyond the detection, what about the impact on the student's actual thinking?
Well, this is where it gets fascinating, maybe a bit concerning. Studies are starting to show that students who rely heavily on AI for writing and problem solving, they might experience diminished originality in their own thought, and a significant reduction in just basic engagement with the course material.
How so?
Well, some students now report spending less than 5 hours, get this, per semester, on their online course content.
5 hours, the whole semester.
Yeah. Instead, they're relying on AI to summarize lectures, generate assignment answers, and this leads, maybe unsurprisingly, to only a superficial understanding. And then down the line, disproportionately high failure rates in more advanced assessments that require deeper knowledge.
It makes you question the assignment itself, doesn't it?
It really does. It raises that important question. If an assignment can be flawlessly executed by AI, maybe with zero real input from the student, is it truly a valuable learning experience to begin with?
So institutions are wrestling with this. What are they actually doing? What's the most, I don't know, surprising or innovative way you've seen them trying to adapt?
Well, they're definitely grappling.
Yes.
That's the word for it. As of early 2024, get this, only 57% of 50 leading global higher ed institutions even had formal AI use guidelines in place.
Less than 60%. Wow.
Yeah. So many are shifting. They're moving away from outright bans, which often don't work anyway, towards a fundamental rethinking of assessment design. They're trying to create assignments that demand personalized responses, maybe showing the process, not just the answer, or requiring real-time critical thinking, things AI just can't easily replicate.
Makes sense.
And this also helps address that non-declaration issue we saw. Like at King's Business School, 74% of students using AI just didn't complete the mandatory declaration forms.
Why not? Fear.
Yeah, citing fears of grade penalties or maybe just confusion about the rules. So the solution isn't just about detection tech. It's really got to be about redesigning the learning task itself.
And thinking long term, for you, the listener, maybe you're a future graduate or a parent, What's the real-world consequence if someone relies too heavily on AI in their studies?
Well, employers are getting concerned, increasingly so. Graduates who leaned heavily on AI might simply lack that foundational knowledge in critical fields. Think cybersecurity, healthcare, engineering.
High-stakes fields.
Exactly. Places where you really need to know your stuff. This could potentially pose real professional risks down the line. And in a broader sense, it could start to devalue academic degrees themselves if the skills they're supposed to represent haven't been genuinely mastered.
Okay, so that's integrity. But beyond just honesty, AI throws up another profound problem. Its relationship with truth itself. Our sources highlight this major concern about AI's tendency to generate misinformation and also perpetuate bias.
Yes, this is a huge one. A really pressing issue is something called AI hallucination.
Hallucination, like the AI is dreaming.
Sort of, yeah. It's where the system basically fabricates plausible sounding but entirely false information. We've heard about the funny examples, maybe, but in education, this isn't just a little misstep. It actively cultivates a reliance on unverified info. There was that New York attorney, for instance, who used ChatGPT for legal research, submitted a brief. It contained completely non-existent court rulings.
Oh, wow.
Or imagine a history student asking an AI about, say, the Battle of Lexington and getting confidently delivered false details about British casualties.
That's genuinely dangerous, isn't it? Especially if students don't have the background knowledge to spot the errors.
It is, precisely because AI outputs often carry this veneer of authority. They sound coherent, confident.
Right. They sound like they know what they're talking about.
Exactly. And that can lead students and, honestly, even professionals to trust them without double-checking. This challenge gets amplified because, well, we humans sometimes tend to trust info based on superficial cues. AI's persuasive output kind of exploits that vulnerability, especially if students lack that solid knowledge base needed to detect falsehoods. Studies confirm this.
So how do we fight this truth problem? How do we arm students against these confident but incorrect AI statements?
Well, the experts really emphasize the vital need for AI literacy and also search literacy. We have to teach students not to take AI output at face value, but to rigorously verify information using independent, reliable sources.
So cross-checking is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just traditional cross-checking. It's also about maybe leveraging newer tools like retrieval augmented generation, RAG for short.
RAG, what's that?
Okay, so instead of the AI just inventing answers based on its training data, RAG tools actively pull verified facts from curated, trusted databases. It's like giving the AI a built-in fact checker that it has to consult first.
That sounds promising. Okay, so beyond just flat-out wrong information, there's the other side of this coin, bias.
Absolutely critical issue. AI models learn from vast data sets, right? Often scraped from the internet. And these data sets unfortunately reflect the historical and cultural biases present in that data.
Garbage in, garbage out, essentially.
In a way, yes. For example, a well-known 2017 study by Joy Buolamwini found commercial facial recognition systems had significantly higher error rates for darker-skinned females. More recently, a 2023 analysis looked at thousands of images generated by Stable Diffusion, another AI model. It showed it clearly reinforced both gender and racial stereotypes.
And how does that play out in an educational setting?
Well, when you connect this to the bigger picture, biased AI can dramatically affect things like automated grading systems or the personalized learning paths it recommends. And ultimately, it can disproportionately disadvantage students from marginalized groups.
That's deeply concerning.
It is. And the real danger here is that AI often feels objective, right? It's a machine. So users might be less likely to question biased outputs. And that just further entrenches existing inequities in education.
That really makes you question the fairness of learning opportunities, doesn't it? If the tools themselves are biased, the learning can't really be equitable.
Exactly. Which leads us naturally to another critical aspect we need to discuss, the human element.
Right. This is one of the most talked about concerns, I think. AI in education and its impact on just human interaction. It feels like a fundamental shift.
It really is. And the sources are quite clear. Reduced direct interpersonal interaction is a significant risk here. Human educators, teachers, mentors, they provide emotional support, mentorship, empathetic feedback. These are crucial functions that AI, despite all its advancements, just cannot authentically replicate.
It feels colder.
It can lead to what some call a dehumanized educational experience, and that can negatively affect student motivation, their engagement, even their emotional intelligence development. The consequences are quite tangible. Over-reliance on AI seems to hinder the development of social competencies, things like teamwork, collaboration, skills you need in life.
Are there studies on this yet?
Yes, a 2024 study looked at 387 university students. It found that increased AI chatbot usage actually had a net negative effect on psychological well-being, on loneliness, and on their sense of belonging at the university.
Wow, a negative effect.
Yeah. And this is particularly concerning when you consider that the U.S. Surgeon General has already identified youth loneliness as a growing public health crisis. AI could certainly exacerbate that if students start turning to chatbots for companionship instead of, actual human peers or mentors.
And thinking purely from a teaching perspective, a pedagogical view, how does this reduction in human contact affect the teaching process itself?
Well, it threatens the fundamental relational quality of education. Teachers are vital not just for delivering information, but for fostering critical thinking, sparking creativity through dynamic discussions, giving that personalized guidance. AI, which often prioritizes efficiency maybe in grading or content generation, can inadvertently discourage students from independent problem solving or from questioning assumptions.
They just take the AI's word for it.
Potentially, yes. And this loss of cognitive autonomy gets compounded by that black box nature of many AI algorithms we mentioned. Students often can't understand how the AI reached a conclusion or how their work is truly being evaluated.
This almost sounds like it exposes some maybe fundamental flaws in how we design education already.
I think that's a really insightful point. Indeed, the very ease with which AI completes certain assignments often reveals a deeper truth. Maybe those tasks already lacked meaningful inquiry. Maybe they were just busy work to begin with.
So if AI can do it easily.
Then perhaps it was never a truly valuable learning experience. This suggests a profound need for educational reform. We need to shift away from rote assessment towards assignments that really emphasize original thought, demonstrating the process, genuine critical engagement.
And there's an equity issue here too, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. A major one. You see reports about private institutions like Alpha School mentioned in one source with its, $20,000 annual tuition.
Steep.
Very. They're using AI with human guides, achieving high test scores. But then you look at state schools, say in England. Nearly 1/5 of teachers there avoid AI entirely due to resource constraints. That's compared to only 8% in private schools avoiding it.
That's a big gap.
It is. And it means AI could unfortunately widen those existing educational inequalities. Under-resourced schools might end up relying on AI as a cost-cutting measure, which could further reduce that vital human interaction, especially for disadvantaged learners.
Okay, it feels like we can't talk about AI without talking about data. It's the fuel, right? And our sources highlight some serious privacy and security concerns when AI gets integrated into schools. It feels like a new frontier of vulnerability, almost.
Absolutely. It's a huge consideration. AI systems, by their nature, often collect vast amounts of student data. We're talking academic records, behavioral patterns, sometimes even biometric information.
Biometric, like facial recognition.
Potentially, yes, or voice patterns. And then you have tools like Gaggle and GoGuardian, which are already actively monitoring millions of students' digital activities in real time, scanning emails, documents, web searches.
What are the dangers there? What are the pitfalls?
They are significant. These systems frequently misinterpret context, slang, jokes, sarcasm. AI isn't great at that yet. This can lead to false alarms, unwarranted disciplinary actions, sometimes even involving law enforcement based on a misunderstood keyword. There are even concerns post-ops about AI flagging searches related to reproductive health, potentially endangering students seeking confidential information.
That brings up a really critical question then. Consent. What level of consent are students or their parents actually giving when all this data is collected?
That's a major ethical issue.
Yeah.
Often it's a lack of meaningful, informed consent. Many students and parents grant permission, maybe clicking a box on a form, without fully understanding the sheer scope of the data being collected. That can include metadata like location, language used, even inferred racial identity.
Wow.
And this idea of forced adoption, where students often have no choice but to use AI tools mandated by the school, that raises serious ethical questions about their autonomy. A 2022 study found 70% of parents were concerned about their children's data privacy, specifically on AI-powered learning devices.
So for parents listening or students, it really does sound like a black box. You're putting your data in, maybe you have to, but you have almost no idea what's happening to it or how decisions about you are being made based on it.
Exactly. That term, black box, is perfect. The internal decision-making processes of many AI systems are opaque. They're not transparent. So when AI makes decisions about, say, student performance or even teacher evaluations.
Teacher evaluations?
Yes, that's happening. Stakeholders often simply can't understand how or why a particular outcome was reached. There was a notable legal case, Houston Federation of Teachers v. Houston Independent School District. A teachers union challenged an AI-powered teacher evaluation tool because its algorithm was completely opaque. The case eventually settled, with the district agreeing to provide greater transparency. It highlights this legal and ethical need for explainable AI, especially in high-stakes decisions in education.
It just fundamentally undermines trust, doesn't it? If you can't see how a decision was made, how can you possibly trust it or appeal it if it's wrong?
It absolutely does. A study from a Saudi Arabian university found significant concerns among users there about the lack of transparency in AI-driven education. This opacity makes it incredibly difficult to detect algorithmic bias. Remember, we talked about that. Or to challenge unfair assessments, or even for students to really learn from automated feedback if they don't know the logic behind it. And it creates issues for academic integrity, too. Generative AI tools often produce content without citing sources, making verification really challenging, increasing plagiarism risks. Journals like Nature have even they now require authors to disclose their AI use in the methods sections.
So given all these data dilemmas, privacy, surveillance, transparency, what's the call to action? What needs to happen?
Well, there's a really strong call emerging from the sources for stronger ethical guidelines, definitely more robust human oversight, and significant regulatory reforms. Recommendations include practical things like data anonymization, strong encryption, and importantly, clear, easily understandable data policies, not pages of legalese.
Right, something people can actually read.
Exactly. And transparency has to cut both ways. Educators and institutions need to be clear about their own use of AI, maybe in syllabi or lesson plans. Ultimately, users, students, parents, teachers should have meaningful control over their data. That includes the ability to delete information and adjust privacy settings. It's fundamentally about ensuring AI supports education without compromising basic rights or eroding trust.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive has certainly shown us that AI in education is, well, it's a really complex landscape. It's clearly not just about plugging in new tools. It feels like it's forcing us to fundamentally rethink what learning even means in the 21st century.
Absolutely. We've seen the clear promises, the potential for personalization, for access, but we've also seen these profound challenges. To academic integrity, yes, but also the spread of misinformation, the potential erosion of vital human interaction, those critical privacy concerns, and crucially, the risk of making existing inequalities like the digital divide even worse.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener, whether you're learning right now, teaching, or just trying to navigate this incredibly rapidly changing world?
Perhaps the most provocative thought to leave you with is this. In an age where AI can perform so many cognitive tasks that we used to think were uniquely human, maybe the true value of education is shifting. Maybe it lies less in just acquiring information, which AI can do very well, and more in cultivating those capacities that are still uniquely human. Things like critical discernment, empathetic connection, original creativity, and maybe that unwavering pursuit of truth. So the question becomes, how will you leverage AI to enhance those human strengths rather than allowing it, perhaps inadvertently, to diminish them?